So, welcome to Inside Out with Sahas and Ali, episode 11. We talk about mindset, mental health, challenge your belief system, and push you to ask more whys to help you find the genius inside of you. Yes, I said genius because you are one. We are grateful to all of you guys who are listening to us on different platforms like Spotify, Google, Breaker, Anchor, and Apple. Please do leave a comment on any of the platforms, whichever is your favorite platform, and tell us how are we able to help you in your journeys, because that would be really very much of a value to us if we are making any constant efforts into your journeys, and if we are trying to help you with your mindset and bring you stories of the people who are actually giving you strength to speak yours. I think that would be the greatest gift for us if you could just let us know how are we doing with this platform and this podcast. So in today's episode we have a very special guest, Kushnaz. Kushnaz has been through the immigrant hustle like a lot of us. She has moved to Canada around, I think, around 4 years ago from India, and she had find herself to start all over again, just like all of us, right? Like whenever we move to a different country, so it's like starting from scratch. Despite the culture and the languages differences, she has always been able to preserve through it on her own. Kushnaz has become a realtor and founded her own company, The Property Ladder, based in Toronto itself. She is doing excellent in her work, and despite all the stuff going through in the difficulties and challenges being a startup, she has been able to go through and get through those challenges on her own. But there are always twists and turns in the life, and what life throws at you, it's on you. How do you bring those things and experience? Either you're going to lose it or you're going to learn from it and go ahead. So let's ask from Kushnaz, how has her journey been and how does she cope up with her day-to-day struggles? Welcome, Kushnaz. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. Firstly, that was a great introduction. So thank you for your kind words. And secondly, yeah, so I moved in 2015. And like you said, it was just like every other, I guess, immigrant story and experience where I think for me, I didn't really understand the gravity of the situation when I actually moved here. It's always, I think you come with like a vacation mindset almost. You're going to school. You don't really it's almost like you look at it like how you watched movies and just shows and that kind of an experience, but it's only after you move here and a few months later where reality hits, where it's
Hmm.
like you've uprooted
Yeah.
your entire life and you're 22 but you suddenly feel like you have these responsibilities. You almost hold yourself more accountable, I think, because you've moved, like you've left your family behind. You've It's easy, it's convenient, it's that comfort zone. And I think that was the hardest part for me when it wasn't my first move, and like experiencing people and building those relationships. It felt exciting in the beginning, and it was only after a few months that I actually started to feel a little not depressed, but I think that's when it kind of hits you and you realize that every decision you make from now on, you're the one responsible for the consequences of your life and how it's going to play out. So yeah,
No,
I think it
totally.
was while I think it's the hardest thing I've done, I also feel like it's very empowering and it gives you a different sense
Mhm.
of self and identity. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. How have things been so far with you now that it's been like around 4 years and you've found your company and you look like it seems like you're doing really well.
Yeah.
How has it been?
Yeah. So I moved here when I was 22 and I did my
Hmm.
postgrad in international fashion management. I was like, I'm coming here. I'll do my program.
Hmm.
I wanted to become a buyer. I felt like I was on track. And I finally kind of reached that. I was an assistant buyer and I just realized after 2 years
Nice.
doing that like I want more from what I'm doing. And if I've made such a big jump, I might as well do it the way I want to do it and actually have control over my life and not just make money, but actually have the time to enjoy that money
Hmm.
and have control over
Mm.
my life. And I'm not saying being in real estate, I have a lot of time. It's not like that, but I still get to decide how much I want to work and if I don't want to. I am my own
Yeah.
boss. So you're even more accountable for what you do. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So before we talk about your business and the challenges that you have been going through, tell us something about your childhood. How was it and where was it? Like where in India?
Okay, so I was born in Pune. My mom's family is from Pune. She was from an army family, and my dad's from Bombay. So I was actually in boarding school since I was 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
So yeah, I was in boarding school. Both my parents were flight attendants with Air India.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was a kid, I used to, when they were flying, I used to live with my aunt in Bombay, and when they were back, so I had like two school buses. I had two different places, and then I went off to boarding school, and it was the best experience of my life.
Where was it?
It was 2 hours from Pune, so it's a KFI school. It's a Krishnamurti Foundation school called Sayadri,
Mm.
and I was there from 2002 to 2008. And it was a different kind of a school. It's founded by this philosopher called J. Krishnamurti, and they believe in self excellence. So I didn't have grades until the ninth grade. I didn't have exams. We didn't have uniforms. We had, compared to day schools, you know how it
Mhm.
is, where you have like
Yeah.
50, 60 people in a class. I had 18 people in my class,
Mhm.
220 students in the entire school. And
Wow.
I just loved it. Like, I think that experience really changed me because my school, like they said, it didn't believe in, okay, just your grades. And you know how India is, it's so
Yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah.
So much
academically
competitive.
focused. So I think they just believed in asking questions. We had this thing called culture class, which I think everyone should have, where every week, just for 40 minutes at a culture class, I was on a hill. It was a 100-acre campus. We would go down to the river. I learned dispersal of seeds through science class, just walking
Mm.
around. And we just spoke about life. And that experience, I think just being able to think critically and
Right.
ask questions definitely has shaped the person I am today.
No, this is
Wow.
amazing. Like, not many people have that kind of experiences, especially in the countries like Pakistan and India, because
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
man.
know the kind of struggle that we had to go through in the school times, right?
absolutely.
And by the way, even I've studied in the boarding school. I've studied in it's in Dalhousie Public School.
Okay.
So it was a boarding school, and 10 years of my life I've spent there from first grade to 10th grade.
No, is it
And
in Uttaranchal?
no, it's in Himachal.
Oh, it's in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, nice.
Yeah, so I
Nice.
studied there, and even for us, like we started with having like the total capacity of our school had around like 300 people. We started
Mhm,
with
mhm.
300 students,
Which is very
and
little.
sorry.
That's less compared to other schools.
Yeah, but slowly and gradually, everybody falls into that trap of, having more, more, and more. So, like, slowly and gradually, like, it was more about environment initially. It was more about culture and giving us all the knowledge about, like, what you talked about.
Yeah.
But slowly and gradually, maybe it fell into the traps of the same boarding culture, the way that, all the schools are built on, like, Sanar or anything of that sort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that I had a great experience because I learned a lot of from that school. But what you're talking about, I wish I had that kind of an experience. I
Yeah.
wish,
Mhm.
because I feel jealous that
Yeah.
I did not.
I get it. Like anyone who left my school, they came back.
Yeah.
Like, you know how usually parents back home, sabko bolte hai na, they're like they always, when they want to scold you, they're like, if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to send you off to boarding school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ये उल्टा लग रहा है.
हमारा उल्टा था. Exactly, my dad was telling me, because I was pretty like rebellious and argumentative. I think I had a phase, and they just straight away, they were like, if you don't behave yourself, we're taking you out of school. And my mom's like, overnight it was like a switch.
Mm.
And I mean, because like those are still my friends till today. Like all those people I've known since almost 20 years now. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like I've
Wow.
known them since I was 9, and they were like my family. Like they still are. Like I sometimes I feel like some of them know me better than my own family do, only because you
Mhm.
spent so many of those years there. But
Yeah.
So
You
you
know,
think?
that's
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ali.
yeah. No, I was gonna compliment the same thing. You were saying that it's so unusual to hear that schools like these
Mm.
are pushing these kind of questions. That's
yeah,
amazing. You had that experience, and it kind of shows, having that different mindset impacts you very differently till adulthood.
yeah.
That was something that's interesting.
Mm. So another question from the childhood memories itself, like this is about the school. So how was your experience with your parents, living with your parents, and how did they help you to grow? Like, were there any challenges, or was it
Um,
like, you like you said, you were a bit of a rebellious. So like, how
yeah.
did that go with your parents?
I mean, I was pretty argumentative only because, so firstly, I'm an only child.
Oh
So
wow.
I also didn't,
Uh,
you know what I mean? It's just like I
mm,
wasn't, I used to get along. My parents were kind of strict, I would say, just like all most Indian parents, right? Like they're strict. They're not like overly, like they won't just keep praising you for no reason. Like they really call you out
Yeah,
on failure.
aake gana sunana, something like
Yeah,
that.
but I like I think your parents should give you a reality check. You know what I mean? You
Yes.
shouldn't unnecessary. I don't know. I just believe in that, and I think my parents were amazing. I think I've grown closer to them now. as I've gotten older. Because after boarding school, I went to Bishops actually, which is kind of like Sanavar, you know what I mean? Like with the
Mhm.
uniforms and super strict. And
Right.
I was losing my mind there. I was like, what is this place? But again, I made good friends, and then I went off to university. So I went back home from 9 to 21 hours out. So when I finally came back to Bombay and I was working with Diesel, my parents and I were very open. And we were just like, you know what? Like I think for parents who send their kid off to boarding school, it's almost like they feel like, okay, we still have to have control over our kids. Like we don't want them to feel like they're super independent. And I think I was just used to being too independent. So when I finally came back, it's a little bit of a struggle, right? But I also think once you start to make your own money, your parents respect you because they know that you're responsible for yourself. So it was easy. Like I got caught doing a couple things sometimes, and they were just like, you don't have to live here. Like if you want to find your own place, you want to do things your way, go ahead. Just be honest with us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow,
Yeah.
it's
very
good.
respectful.
Yeah. Also, after they were very strict, and then once I moved to Canada, they've softened. Now they're just like, oh, how are you doing? Like everything's okay. Just
That's so interesting. Like that transition, I've noticed that in a lot of like parenthood stories, is
yeah.
that they start treating you like adults, and you become
Mhm.
more like a friend than a son or a daughter, right?
Exactly. And I
Um,
feel like that.
it's funny how that works.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like a kid. Don't get me wrong. Like I keep telling my
Hmm.
boyfriend, like when I take you, like finally when I can go back home to visit and take him with me, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to become that child again. Because your parents know how to push
Yeah,
your buttons. Like they know where those buttons
exactly.
exactly. Which is,
Mhm.
but yeah.
No, absolutely. And so, like, talking back again about your, so you started working with Diesel after once you graduated, right?
Yes, that's right. So I was. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
No, 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 go ahead.
So, when you started working with it, how was that experience? Like, were still living with your parents, or you moved out, like you said, or how was that?
Oh no, I was in Bombay, so I couldn't afford the rent,
Oh yeah.
obviously.
Hmm.
So no, I basically I knew I was working only for a year because I was applying for to come to Canada anyway. That's always been like my not goal, but I feel like ever since I was a kid, I just knew I wanted to live abroad and have that experience. And I had
Mm.
told myself that I'll give myself 5 years and then I'll decide whether I want to go back or stay. And now it's been 5 years, and I think I've decided to stay.
I
So
like that.
Mm.
Diesel was good. I loved it. I just I knew it was I knew that it was temporary. I knew that it was for 1 year, so I really feel like I made the most of it. I was doing sales. I got to do visual merchandising, and Diesel was part of Reliance. So I just feel like we had a good work culture. I liked the people that I was working with, and
Mhm.
yeah, I enjoyed myself. I made the most of it.
Mm.
Now, looking back to your childhood in India and coming to Canada, um, do you see some? Obviously, there were differences in culture and languages, but do you see some differences when it comes to just growing up overall? Do you think it would be much easier mentally to grow up in Canada as versus your childhood growing up in India?
No, no. In fact, I feel like I'm very grateful that I have the best of both. I
Okay.
I feel like I was very lucky to grow up there in that so India's more of a collectivist culture, right? Compared to Canada, which is
Hmm.
very individualistic. So I just feel like the in India, people are so important. Like you'll never India, whenever you go back to South Asia, you won't feel alone. You
Yeah.
always feel like there are people around you. And one thing
Yeah,
I
family's really big in our culture, I've
yeah, not
noticed.
and not just family. I feel like even friends. Like you always have people around you that you know. Like you can never
Hmm.
really feel alone. Like at least that's how my experience was. Whereas when I came here, I felt like I had people around me, but I felt that loneliness because I didn't feel at home with the people around me. So I
Mm.
think that's the difference that I saw, and I think it's harder for people to grow up here, only because I didn't hear about so many people having anxiety back home. And when I
Hmm.
moved here, like I felt like maybe there was more mental awareness, but I just felt like
It was like hush hush, you think?
yeah, I guess it's also hush hush, but I also feel like people here, like in an individualistic society, I think you feel like you are still on your own. And that's what I learned after coming here. Like
Hmm.
by the end of it, you are your own person. Whereas I feel like back home, it's very easy to kind of rely on people, and
Mm.
I feel like there's more support
Yeah.
back home, and maybe that's because I didn't grow up here and I don't have family here, and I guess it's different. But I think I like that. I like growing up with so many different communities and learning so much and celebrating
Hmm.
everyone's festivals, and
Mm.
I think it keeps you grounded. And yeah. I think I
Y-
don't know. I think it was easier for me.
Yeah, no, you do see a good point. I see that a lot as well. Is that countries like Pakistan, India, you can always rely on, even though if you don't want to,
Yeah.
rely on your parents. Something happens, something doesn't go according to plan. You have your friends. Over
Yeah.
here, I've noticed like when I even came here, you're on your own, and I think that was the hardest transitioning part for anyone moving to Canada or any Western country is you're pretty much on your own. No one's gonna ask if you ate today. No one's gonna ask, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You gotta figure out that shit on your own,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. You really have to. And I think that was a good thing for me because I was very like, I didn't really stand up for myself. Like that's what I had
Mhm.
realized about my own self. But
Yeah, no, same here. Like you become too dependent on society and
yeah.
other people, and you
Yeah.
realize, oh fuck, no one gives a shit about me here. I gotta take care of my own self.
Yeah. Like even I don't know if you experience this, but back home, like when you start new like work at a new place or you're just going into a new
Hmm.
environment, I didn't feel as self-conscious or like I just didn't think so much because I feel like back home when you walk into a place, it's just easy. Maybe that's because
Hmm.
we grew up there. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
It was just
no,
my
that you're
experience.
absolutely right. Yeah.
But I felt like over here, maybe I also feel like people take a little more time to open up. They're not as unfiltered and just, like
Yeah.
back home, you just,
You,
you're
you,
the first person you meet, you're going for a smoke break with them.
Ah,
And
yes.
you know what I mean? Whether you go to school, like college or whatever it is. But
right.
here I felt like that's what I learned as well. I felt like maybe I was coming on too strong, the first time I'm meeting people. So I kind of, you just take it back a little bit. People take a little more time to open up. So
Yeah.
maybe that's also why it might be harder to grow up here, I think. Because you always feel like there's like a magnifying glass on you. But people are, I don't feel so much judgment back home as maybe that I did initially when I moved here.
Hmm.
Hmm.
This is a very interesting topic that you brought it up because you're absolutely right about the fact that we are a very culturally rich society back in India and Pakistan. Like we believe in companionship, we believe in fellowship. We have a lot of people in our community, too many aunties, too many uncles coming to our
Yeah.
places. We are so like if I go back home, I'll be having like rounds of people coming in and just having a
Yeah.
और
uh,
सबके तोहफे तो लेके जाने जरूरी है वरना
I
वापस नहीं आओ.
it's तो
वो
लेके
भी
जाने
सूटकेस
जरूरी
भर के.
and all of that stuff happens. But something that I've realized over the period of time, and even when I was in India, that kabhi kabhi what happens is that हम इतना culturally involved हो जाते हैं that we forget to ask each other how they're really doing from inside.
Yeah.
And that disconnect I've somehow found more in our society back in India also, because we don't talk about these things. The
Yeah.
reason why I say that, because I've personally experienced it. So there was a time in my life, and like even Ali could say for that for himself, I was completely depressed. I was completely, I was not able to come out of my own cocoon because there was nobody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why?
Hmm.
Because if I would talk, if I would say that I need a psychiatrist, to pagal hai.
Yeah. I
that
agree with that.
thinking
Yeah.
that thinking just keeps you avoiding having that kind of a conversation itself. So that is what I found a lot. And the reason I think we don't talk about it much, because of the judgment,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
agar hum ye wali baat karenge, if I say that I'm going through some kind of a emotional pain, people will judge you. Oh, you're not strong enough. Oh,
Yeah.
why? I mean, this is not even a real pain. So I think हम इतना used to हो गए हैं in India or in Pakistan that physical labor, physical hardships, and the kind of things that हमारे forefathers have gone through, या our parents go through, the kind of that is why it is easier for immigrants to hustle. हमारे लिए hustle is just like whatever we are doing here, and it's like common
I've
in India.
noticed that it's so common for us. Like the
Wait,
typical Indian guy is or Pakistani guy is going to be a
Right.
hustler.
I
Right.
agree.
The reason why we, because हम इतना अपने आप को वो train तो कर चुके हैं physically and but mentally somewhere it is taking a strain, and somewhere we don't. I didn't find that channel to talk about it, and slowly and gradually I learned it on my own, and
Yeah.
I found the ways to how to tackle this kind of situation. But most people don't. Most people are suffering from anxiety and always about the judgment and everything. So was that kind of an experience that you had ever in your life where you thought that uh, I I will be judged if I do this. I'll be experiencing some kind of a rejection if I do this. So I need to be talking in some other way. Did you have that kind of an experience back home?
Yeah. I think I experienced that in when I was in college and university. I felt like I completely agree with what you're saying. When you're talking about mental health, I feel like people are very dismissive back home about this, and that's why you tend to just sweep it under the carpet and you don't talk about it, because it's almost like there's no one taking you seriously, right? So I think I experienced a lot of these things, but that we didn't have so many like school counselors, and there was no social media. You just had no
Yeah.
information or awareness about mental health. And I feel like we've seen that progress in India now, and just globally, I think you see that people are just so much more open to have these conversations, which is amazing. And I think that I definitely experienced it growing up. I was also an only child, right? So I think I was very in my own head, and I've always
Mhm.
had that fear of rejection and
Mm.
feeling judged. And I think in university, what I experienced was most of my professors. I had one professor from the States, like she was Indian origin, but she taught in North Carolina. And
Mhm.
what I used to experience with the professors was they were always like, oh, wo bahut baat karti hai, she's too outspoken.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Oh, she smokes.
Mhm.
All of those
Yeah,
things. And I
that's true.
wasn't like the one who's going to carry the teachers back to the faculty room. Like, that's just not me. And I would feel like uh, I was in design school, so I had juries and it was subjective, right? It's not like you're writing a paper. So I felt like I wasn't graded properly a lot of the times, and they would pass these snide
Wow.
comments. And I remember calling my dad once and just like very upset on the phone, because as usual, your dad's very like strict about your marks and studies and all of that. And he was just like, just be the best that you can be. Just do so well that they can't find anything wrong with what you're doing. And I think just that piece of advice has really just I've just always held that very close to my heart, and I just follow that, because I asked myself, I was like, have I given it the best that I could? And the answer was no. So yeah, I definitely felt that sort of judgment then, where I felt like it was the opposite, where it's like, oh, don't talk too much, don't say too much, don't always
Yeah.
have an opinion. Or like 2 years ago when I moved here, like 2 years into coming here, my mom was flying to New York and I went to meet her. And I think one of my tops was a little, I don't know, was a little like not covered up maybe. And she was just like, oh, I don't want my
Mhm.
crew to see you
Mhm.
like that. And it just,
Yeah.
like, I'm 26. Like, are you joking? Who cares? And my parents are very open minded, you know what I mean? But I still feel like you fall into that trap of just
Easy.
succumbing to like society's, you know what I mean? These norms that you have, or what will people think? That's such
Yeah.
a
लोग क्या बोलेंगे, ये
low.
जिंदगी है.
Yeah.
पैदा हो, लोग क्या बोलेंगे, मर
क्या
जाओ
बोलेंगे?
बस.
It's all about that. Yeah, and that's really annoying, and that's also why I was very excited to move. Like,
No, this is
I didn't want to
Yeah.
move to a place where I knew too many people, because I just wanted to become my own person without having that sort of judgment or fear of someone telling my parents something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is so true, Krishna. I'm glad that you brought it up because Abhito, like you're talking about your mother saying it, and I think it even accentuates to a higher level altogether when it is
Yeah.
your bahu,
Yeah. Oh my
right?
god.
So, right. So I think that is something very much of a challenge to even just think about it. Like there are मतलब वो difference दिखता है. Like if you have a daughter, if you have a daughter-in-law, the rules will not be the same.
Yeah. There's always double standards.
There will always be double standard, no matter मेरे family में भी होगा. I'll be very candid about it. It's there.
Yeah, it's the
It's
Mhm.
there. I mean, the same rules will not be applied to my sister. What they would be
to
put
your
upon my
sister-in-law.
own
Yeah.
wife, because uh, उनको है कि this is what we are supposed to do. This is what daughter-in-law is supposed to do.
Yeah.
और फिर उसके में logic नहीं आएगा.
Because
Mhm.
there's no logic, because it's all about what will people think. Log kya kahenge?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why there's no logic. Like
And
you can
उसका
make
end
people
result ये
think.
आएगा, if you don't do it, you don't respect us.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Mhm.
It's like they just want to make you feel guilty, and that's one thing. Like if you try to make
Yeah.
me feel guilty, I don't want to do it. Like I'm going to do exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. The emotional blackmail is very strong. I've noticed in
Yeah.
our society. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
It's
it's such,
Like.
such a subtle difference कि मतलब कि आप ये नहीं
Mhm.
सोच रहे हो कि that it is not really about respecting or not, in a way that you're not respecting the other human being.
yeah.
I would be really honest
Mhm.
about that. अगर आप ये नहीं समझ रहे हो कि that it is not really about the culture, it's really more about that it's another human being altogether. How can you expect somebody to do completely overhaul themselves into a different culture from what they have learned in their 20 or 25 years of their experience, and forget that and
Yeah.
just adopt a new life
Yeah.
without even
Exactly.
questioning? It is
It's
unrealistic.
it's very unrealistic. I completely agree. I do
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like
Sorry. Go on.
Go.
I think there's hope, right? Because I feel like now the next generation, like you clearly see people evolving from just those, very strict sense of rules and norms that people are just supposed to
Mhm.
follow, and like, just throw out all your beliefs, like Sahas said, like 20 years of how you've been living your life, and then you just have to adopt a new way of living because now you're a daughter-in-law, and like your whole goal in life is to just be that person, which is unrealistic.
Exactly, and I noticed that in societies like ours, obviously there's good and there's bad for every culture, but what really stands out, and that this is something that really annoys me, is that the amount of pressure we put on women to be a certain way,
Yeah.
but at the same time we barely give them enough rights. So, for example, I was watching this really interesting undercover video where this guy in was going on the streets of India, and he was basically asking men, and they had no idea they
Mhm.
were being recorded. That what do you think about like all these rapes that are happening in Pakistan, India? Um, how do you deal with that, right? And almost all of them had the same replies that, yeah, but if they didn't dress this way, if they stayed at home, it wouldn't happen. And then you turn it back on them. Okay, what if your sister, your daughter, was raped in this case? And their reply would be, I would not let that happen because I wouldn't let them wear certain clothes. I wouldn't let them go to school. I'll make sure they're staying at home. So and I've noticed the same fucking argument in Pakistan as well. It's very prevalent that, um, for example, this is going to be a really sad twist, but there was a mother and two kids who were stuck on a motorway or highway in Pakistan, and their car broke down. What happened next was basically some men came, took her, beat her, and raped her on the side and in front of the kids. And this is a massive, massive, issue, a massive uproar in Pakistan. Um, they filed the case, and the police asked, this is their first question: what were you doing there alone? Not that who were the people, who what did it look like, but what were you doing there alone? So these are the things that are really and then are big problems. And then we kind of question, like, why do we have such mental issues in our country? Well, these are the people that are being, these are the values we're holding up in our lives. These are the kind of questions we're asking all the time.
Yeah, I feel like they're completely missing the point. Like it's just disgusting, these things that happen. Like I can't even begin to tell you how much I was scared just to travel by rickshaw my first time alone, because all I saw and heard about were, rapes happening. You feel it, like you can't walk on the street if you're wearing a skirt. You can't. Like even in a big city,
Hmm.
you still feel like people are
Oh
looking
yeah.
at you.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think I felt it again when I went back this time, but I only felt it because I think it was my first 2 weeks of just again adjusting to being back home. Then after 2 weeks again, I was numb to it, right?
Yeah.
Like the way
Hmm.
you used to ignore it before, but that's the whole point. Like you shouldn't be feeling like that.
Absolutely. Very
And
important thing that you said, that you said you got numb.
yeah, you
See?
just ignore it. You like have this thick skin, and I was like, look, I'm not saying I love my country, okay, but I feel like this is a problem that
Hmm.
it just, I'm not even kidding. As a kid going for tuitions, you know what I mean, in the summer,
Yeah.
like it was, I always felt it. I used to also watch a lot of TV, and I felt like television then was showing all of this stuff, like in all these TV shows, like they were showing people rape, in fact, you know what I mean, all these soap
Yeah.
operas and stuff, and that used to really get to me as a 11-year-old, as a 12-year-old, like
Yeah.
it used to really freak me out.
That's the fucking reality. And you know
Yeah,
what?
it's really sad. It's really sad.
Problem ये है, Kushinath, this is what I see, that it's not the problem that अपनी बहन, अपनी mom, अपनी बेटी को अंदर करो. The point is अपने बेटे को अंदर करो,
Yeah,
अपने
Exactly.
बाप
exactly.
को अंदर करो.
Hmm.
The knowledge, the lessons has to be learned by men, not women.
Yeah,
We need to be taught.
yeah,
Teach us, not fucking women.
yeah.
Hmm.
The onus
This
is
is,
not on the onus
yeah.
is not on the woman for the way she dresses. It like it starts at home. I used to always think, it's just a lack of education. It's people who come from smaller places who don't have access to any education, but it's not. I think it's that basic education of your mind and how you're brought up. Like it really starts at home, right? If young
Yeah.
boys are seeing this at home, where there are such double standards for men and women, where they feel like, oh, I can do whatever I want, and I can shift the blame on the other person for the way they were dressed, because that gives me the liberty to just jump on them and pounce on them and do whatever I can. It's
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
it's just pretty appalling. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is like something that, like, if you remember, like, Ali ne jaise abhi share kiya, one of the experiences that happened, like, you might remember something which happened in India also, which was like globally.
Yeah, the on the bus, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
what?
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a massive. There was a
Yeah.
massive uproar on that.
But what's her name? I forgot.
N se
The
tha kuch.
BBC did a whole thing on it.
Yeah, yeah. They changed their name, her
Daughter of
name.
India. I don't. There was so
Uh,
many cases like this though. Like it's not even like that's the first one. I
yeah,
remember my grandparents when I was a kid. This is like 2004, 2005. Would be scared. Like they would read the paper and call me and
hmm,
be like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" Like
yeah,
that's not how you
Mhm.
should feel like you're growing up.
yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
Kushnaz, like, based on this, like, did you ever feel from your parents, like you said, you were talking about the intense pressure to be a certain way, look a certain way. Did that ever get to you mentally? Do you think? Do you ever think that it caused anxiety or caused guilt?
I just feel like I was very lucky. Like my parents, my family, I never felt this sort of pressure. You know what I mean? That oh, I wasn't dressing
Mhm.
the right way. Like, but just like obviously don't be too crazy and wear like you know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
I never felt like that back home. I never felt like I had strict restrictions on how I should dress. And I think my parents just they just trusted me. And I think sometimes giving your kids that responsibility and trusting them with it makes you feel even more responsible, at least in my case. I
Hmm.
feel like when I feel
Mhm.
like someone doesn't have faith in me and they think they already are assuming that I'm going to make a mistake, it
Hmm.
almost makes me want to do that. But I think when someone trusts you and gives you that faith and they're like, you know what, we know you're responsible, and the way you behave is also a reflection on us.
Hmm.
I think you just I never had that experience, and I feel very lucky actually.
Hmm. So, Kushna, when you moved here to Canada, so what got you to move to Canada? It's just that because you wanted to come to study abroad and you wanted to have that independent lifestyle, or
Yeah.
how was that?
It was exactly that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think so. I was looking at the states, and I remember going to New York when I was 14, and I passed by FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, and I got some of the the school brochures and stuff home, and I was like, this is the place I'm going to go to. But then I think as I was graduating, I realized, okay, if I'm going to spend all of this money to go abroad, I need to see that return on my investment. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not just going there to study and come back and then start off again, at the bottom. Like, I'm going there so I have the experience. So, which is how I landed up on Canada. So, it was pretty random. My dad
Mhm.
actually studied here in the 80s. He went to
Oh.
McGill.
Nice.
And yeah, so he was like, oh, why don't you consider Canada? And this is before everyone was coming here. This is like
Hmm.
6 years ago when Trump wasn't elected. It was easy to go to the States, but I just realized I was like, okay, if you're not a STEM student, so if you don't do science, tech, maths,
Hmm.
you're not going to get that. You're not going to be able to get a work visa. So I decided on Canada. And
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't think too much. Like, I'm being honest. I thought I was coming on vacation. Like, I was just going to go to school,
Mhm.
have fun. And then, a few months into it, I'm like, holy shit, I've
Yeah.
actually moved my life and now I need to
Hmm.
get serious. And yeah,
Hmm. And how
Now,
how
when you
old were you then?
22.
22.
Yeah, I think I was, yeah, 22. I was 22. Yeah.
Okay.
came here, obviously there was a massive difference in culture shock. Um, were there any limiting beliefs that you had when you came here that you had to overcome when you transitioned living in Canada long term?
Yeah, I think I started to actually, I knew someone who had moved here a year ago. And I
Hmm.
feel like that friend, like that person was my friend then. Like I think I felt like they were projecting their insecurities onto me almost. Where I think the person maybe felt those ways when they moved the year before. So when I came, I was excited. I was just myself. Like I said, I obviously feel like when you move to a certain place, you need to adopt their culture. You read the room a little bit, learn the etiquette,
Hmm.
learn the social cues. And I think that listening to the other person's negative experience and the way they were like, oh, you sound too Indian, or you're
Oh
dressing like
wow.
this, always putting me down almost. I think that really made me feel very insecure all of a sudden,
Hmm.
because I wasn't like that. I was very confident. I didn't think too much, you know. And I think when you start suddenly, like you listen to this person kind of who you've known back home and who starts to make you feel like that, you assume that everyone's like that, but that's not true. People here are really nice. They're super welcoming. They're very accepting of your culture, of your accent, no matter what it is. It's
Yeah.
by the end of it, I think what you realize is it's your own limiting beliefs. It's your
Yes.
own thoughts in your head. It's not other people. No one has the time to focus on you. Everyone's too self-involved and obsessed to be like, oh, how does she talk, or what is she wearing? Those are all the things that you're basically thinking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why I think we give ourselves all the pain is like a bolte hain, ye kya bol raha hoga mere bare mein, but he probably doesn't even notice.
yeah, it's in your head, you know what I mean? And the
Mhm.
like I feel like the lesser time you spend on it, the easier it is to just move on. Like don't
And one very important factor, like when somebody moves here and immediately wo jo accent aa jata na,
Yeah.
that is just so much of saying in a way that I want to, you know, be a part of this environment
yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Like be acceptable of
Mhm.
the new, like I want to be accepted,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that changes everything.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
I mean, I did feel like I do still like I'm being honest. Like I roll my R's and stuff. Like sometimes I feel like I code switch. It really depends on who I'm speaking to. So if
Mhm.
I'm speaking to some, it depends. I think sometimes like, after 5 years now, I don't even realize it. In the beginning, I was very conscious of it, and I wasn't conscious of it because someone made fun of me. It's because my own friend had brought it up to me,
Mm.
who
Yeah.
had an Indian accent, but completely. You know what I mean? It's those
Mm.
little things, and I also think it's the age. I came here when I
Yes.
was transitioning. I wasn't in university anymore. You know, you're starting out in your 20s, but I
Right.
Mhm.
think after a certain point, like I said, moving here really gives you that confidence and belief in yourself. Like 2 years after being here, I realized, you know, I did so much on my own. Like I'm very grateful. My parents have, you know, backed me up and given me these
Yeah.
opportunities, but you have to give yourself credit for rising to the occasion and, you know, overcoming those limiting beliefs in your head.
Yeah, and one thing I like what you said about the accent part, Sahas, because um, this is a really interesting like thing I've noticed a lot. Growing up in Pakistan, India, you know, we're told, oh, sound like English, be white, oh, like basically whitewashing us as at a really young age. And I think I've noticed when people come here, they try really hard to be like local,
Yeah.
and because either they're dressing the way, talking the same way, and it's mostly because um, our society, I've noticed, really cherishes that idea of colonialism, right?
Mhm.
That oh, if you're perfect in English, you're probably really smart, which isn't the case at all.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed that the older you get, you stop giving a fuck. You don't care anymore because
It-
you know
yeah.
you've experienced it. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter if you're white, black, brown, or
Mhm.
whatever. You know people are going to treat you differently either way. If
Yeah.
and that's on them. There's not much you can do about it.
I agree. I think when you're younger, you, like I said, you don't have that sense of self and like a strong identity, almost like
Hmm.
self identity. So I think you rely on these little things, right? Like you rely on the way you're dressed, you rely on what you're saying more than the quality of what you're saying. It's the way you're saying it. So it's these superficial things I think you rely on because you don't really have that confidence in yourself. And I think once you build your personality, you realize people are, they're gravitating towards you because of who you are, not who you're pretending to be, or not all of these little things. And I think
Hmm.
once you realize that, you just, you know, like you said, you grow older, you're just like, I don't care. I don't want to waste time. I want to
Yeah.
actually have the people around me who get me. And if you don't, it's a good thing, right? Like we can move on.
Mm.
Exactly.
One question that I wanted to ask you, Krishna, is what
Yeah.
is your biggest fear right now since you have grown up, from matured enough from the time when you moved here? What is
Um,
your biggest fear?
so I think when I was younger, my biggest fear was being lonely, like just being alone and not having people. And I think now my fear is definitely just think living a mediocre life. And when I say that, I mean just not achieving my full potential and not realizing, just wasting the talent and the skills that I have. I feel like there's always, you're always growing, you're always evolving, and you're always changing. And I think that's my biggest fear right now, just not achieving my true potential. And almost, you know, it's the easiest thing to do is not work on yourself and just go with the flow and be like, oh, what has to happen, what has to happen will happen. And I don't want that
Mhm.
to be the case.
And
So I
what would
think
you
that makes
advise for somebody who is going through the same kind of fear or any kind of a fear? What should they do to tackle that fear?
um I think just turn off that voice in your head. I think they say when people say tune off the noise and they say other people, I think for me it's my own thoughts.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it the
Mhm.
other day, you know, it's like just focus on yourself. That's also what my school taught me. We didn't have grades because it's like don't compare yourself to other people. Just
Very
keep
nice.
improving on who you are and what you're doing. So a lot of the times I look at my social media, like I've just started, and I'm like, what's happening? No one's, I'm not getting followers, the new algorithm, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm just
Yeah.
like, look, you have decided to do a little bit each and every day and make it better, and you see yourself improving. So who cares?
Yeah.
By the end of it, you're getting better at what you're doing. And that's the whole purpose of your life. In the grand scheme of things, in 5 years, these few months of
Mhm.
not having or realizing those goals immediately, it's not going to make any difference because you're getting
Yeah.
better at it each and every day. And that's just contributing to you being you, achieving those goals and being on the path that you want to be. So I think it's fine. And
Yeah.
self-talk. I feel like for me, it's definitely that. I think when you're giving other people advice, it's so easy. You're not subjective. You look at it from an outside perspective and you're like, don't worry. It's bigger in your head. So I almost like talk to myself sometimes as if it's not my own problem and I'm talking to my best friend, because I love my best friend and I would only be nice to her, and you're the meanest to yourself. So I think that helps too.
So can you give us some examples? Like, what would you say to yourself if you're having a bad day or if you need inspiration?
Yeah, I would. So for example, like I was when Sahas asked me, he's like, do you want to come on the podcast? And my first thing was, oh, what do I have to offer? Like, what do you want to
Hmm.
ask me? You know what I mean? And he was like, don't doubt yourself. And I just, this like basically the last 10 days, like I did think about it sometimes, where I would just start overthinking. Like before you're going to bed, suddenly it's all these thoughts like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I say something stupid? And it's just, I was just talking to myself and I'm like, listen, if this was my best friend, I would be like, why are you overthinking it? This is such a great opportunity. You're helping, you might be helping someone. It's a good way for you to, overcome this
Hmm.
fear. It's a win-win. So what's the
Yeah.
big deal? And yeah, that's it. Just go with it. It's easy. Like I watched your stuff and I just felt like I'm gonna feel so comfortable talking to you guys. And I do feel like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. And just the other day, I was talking to somebody, and so I got somebody on my IGTV live.
Yeah.
And after once the IGTV was done, and she told me I was so nervous.
Was it Harvinder?
Yes.
I loved that. She was so like just chill and like I loved it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I
like,
loved it so
and
much.
the great thing about her is that when the moment when I asked her, in fact, I asked her just a couple of hours before the live was actually supposed to happen, and she said, "Yeah, I'll do it." I mean, I mean, that's the kind of, so like for me, the way that I resonate with that is because for me it works the same way.
Yeah.
You just say yes and
You
figure it out later. And
exactly.
Yeah.
figure it out later. We'll figure
I'm
it out.
I'm still not there yet, but I'm looking at it as inspiration to, like
Yeah.
baby steps, like slowly, slowly. Like I don't think I can do that. Like I feel like you're so brave to do that, like what you did on the bus, right? That's the first conversation we had where I was like, I heard about you when they spoke about you at the Cash Flow Tribe boot camp, and I think that's amazing.
It's like what Mark also talks about it, right? Make your vulnerability your superpower,
Mm-hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's where you just achieve big goals. If you're vulnerable, like that's just what I told to Harvinder also at that moment when she told me that I was so nervous. Then I told her, this is what you need to do more. Then
Yeah.
something that you
Hmm.
are challenging, something that is a challenge for you yourself. That's how you grow.
Yeah.
That's how you have to. Then you have to put yourself into those situations.
Yeah.
Why do you think is the reason that we are doing this podcast? Because this is challenging.
Yeah.
We cannot. We
Hmm.
have to make it a consistent thing,
Absolutely.
and that takes dedication. That takes showing up every single week.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. A lot of people have made this make it at a to that level where they could do it 3 times in a week or something like that, but doing even one time in a week takes a bit of a challenge.
Of course.
But
Hmm.
that is how you do it. Like there's no other way. You have to
Yeah.
just do it.
You just have to
Yeah.
be.
Go where the resistance is, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's more the consistency than actually doing an amazing job. And that's
Yeah.
what we do, right? We focus on, is it that good? Is it the
Yeah.
best? And it's like, just keep doing it little by little. You're obviously improving and you're going to get there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just like the two types of brains, like what even Ali just told about the lizard brain. So lizard brain is the one which says it's not good for you. I mean, why are you doing it?
Yeah,
Why do you put yourself in that kind of a situation where you can lose?
exactly.
Hmm.
Why do you want to lose? That's what the lizard brain says. And you know what he says? Slowly the hand comes from the, come with me. I'll make you a coffee. I'll make you snuggle
Yeah.
in the bed, right?
Exactly.
So this is what the lizard brain says. And the intellect side of our brain, which is our weakest part of our brain, which says that, you know what, this is what you need to do, but I'm very weak. You need to help me out
Yeah.
here. I am
Mhm.
weaker than the lizard brain, but you need to help me out. Just agree with me. Stand, take a stand for me.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to take a stand for the weakest part of your brain.
Yeah, there's this really interesting analogy I was listening to back in, I think it's in the native tribes, I'm not sure, but the idea is that we have uh, two wolves in ourselves. There's a negative wolf and a positive wolf, like a bad wolf and a good wolf.
Mhm.
Which wolf we feed is the one wolf that's going to be stronger. So
I love
the bad wolf would be like our um, vices, like when it comes to, let's say, gambling or
that.
things you're doing that you're not supposed to be doing. And then there's the good wolf that uh, is more noble, does noble things. And most of the people end up feeding the wrong wolf. And that's what gets stronger over time.
Yeah, because it's also easier to like feed that negative bad wolf, right? Like it's just easy.
Yeah.
Easy. It's so easy, and especially when the with the like feeding with the like even not just with the bad habits, but also like with the negative thoughts, with the negative uh, uh, just getting into the shades of vanity metrics on social media,
Hmm.
Yeah.
or why I'm not getting more followers, why I'm not getting more likes, why am I not getting
Mhm.
comments, do I need to really just pout all the time whenever I'm clicking a picture, or so like all of these things, you know if I pout like this, I would get better. If I do use this filter, I will get better. That itself is, a resistance, because we want to get accepted everywhere. If we lose ourselves and say that, it's not about acceptance, and say that I just want to be the way that I can consistently be, that
Yeah,
changes the whole narrative.
that's so true.
Yeah. So we're almost coming at the end, Kushnaz, and I've really enjoyed our talking. Like today, like I said, like it's going to be more like a conversation, right? Like it's just like
Mhm.
hanging out, three friends talking together and
Yeah.
talking about life and experiences. And you bring a lot of your experiences on the table. What's next for you in life right now?
I think just focusing on real estate. I've been doing this for like slightly over a year now, and I think
Nice.
my main focus for the first year was just to learn as much as I can.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Any opportunities you get, any leads you get, just go for it. Like I wasn't focusing on, am I doing a good job? It's more just like you're learning, and you're always going to make
Yeah.
mistakes, and it's very stressful because you're doing it on your own. And I think you just keep going, keep going. I just want to keep learning. That's all I keep telling myself. Because the more I
Mhm.
learn, the better I can be, and the better I am, the more confident I feel, and it just keeps snowballing from there into a great thing. So I think I'm just going to focus on that, and start creating video content for Property Ladder. I'm actually excited to do it now.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it.
No, that
That's
is
pretty much the
amazing.
plan.
No, but you're doing amazing with whatever you're doing with Property Ladder, and you touched on a very good point that you always have to be learning. Like even I'd say a lot of times that uh, nobody's really an expert.
Hmm.
If I were an expert, then I would be called,
Yeah.
right? We are just on a different levels of expertise or learning curves, you could say. Maybe I might be on level 2, somebody would be on level 3, somebody would be on level 1. It's just that, but the thing is, like, if you are already at some level, is what you need to see is like who you really can help under your levels.
That's
So
true.
if you're
Mhm.
a level 2, you could help the person who is on level 1.
Yeah.
So that means for the level 1, you're an expert.
I completely agree. I think that's also um one of the biggest mistakes we make, right? We're always comparing ourselves, especially in this whole
Absolutely.
era of social media where everything you can see what
Yeah.
everyone's
Perfection.
doing, and you always feel like the grass is green on the other side, and you're always comparing yourself. But it's like sometimes I have to check myself and be like, what you're doing, you've been
Hmm.
doing for a few months, and you're
Yes.
comparing yourself to someone who's been doing this for 7 years. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
obviously you feel that difference. Don't look at it as you're not good enough. Look at it as, I like these things about this realtor, for example. I like the way they do this. I want to learn from them. I think it's just that switch, right? It's
That's
just
right.
that complete the way you look at things. And I think we should keep ourselves busy so you're not, idle mind is a devil's workshop. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
believe in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So easy to go down that rabbit hole. It's pretty scary, actually.
This has
But yeah,
been
thank you
really.
so much for having me. I had the best conversation, and I feel like we should do this even if we're not
Oh, yeah.
recording the
Yeah.
podcast. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely. We
For
should do
sure.
that. And one last thing before we end the podcast, where should people find you on
So they
anywhere?
can find me on Instagram as propertyladder.ca for anything related to real estate, and yeah, and Facebook as well.
Okay. And the
Awesome.
Facebook handle is the same?
Property Ladder Real Estate.
Okay.
Same
Awesome.
thing.
It was lovely having a conversation with you, Khushnas, and I think it was a very straight off conversation because it was a little different than we had from our previous conversations because we touched on the points which were not really spoken about, like women and like that idealistic society and religion and all that stuff.
Mm.
So thank you so much for bringing such a value on the table, and I really
Thank you so much
hope
for having me. I loved it. Thank you.
we loved it too. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing this.